operating on a frequency of 52 megacycles by authority of the Federal Communications Commission. A test program follows. To you who've been trained technically, I need hardly say that there's still a number of problems to solve. I guess you know them as well as anybody knows them. But I think we've proceeded far enough to justify the statement, at least, that these technical problems are not insurmountable.
Hello everyone. So I'll stop talking on mute and I will read my notes telling me to unmute next week. So let's go through all of that again. It's been one hell of a week here in KOTE. Yeah, okay, I wasn't looking at the chat this time. I need more monitors. So it's been one hell of a week at KOTE. There's so many things to say here. Brett, wow, just what you've done in the last few weeks. I myself have not been doing anything outside of this, and this week I haven't even been able to keep an eye on the matches being played, the results coming through. And I'm not a football fan, but I like to think I do the same things. I just keep an eye, see the tables as it goes. There's that curiosity, see how things are progressing. And I've not had time this week, but Brett once again has done an amazing amount. Brett, you have done at least one Meet the Teams video. You've done the kickoff of the results for the Can't Touch This competition from Poland, and we've announced the winners. And you forgot to tell me who the winners are because I can't remember after seeing it. So if you're hearing this, Brett, put in the chat, please, the winner and the link to your video. And the Can't Touch This competition, for those few of you who haven't heard us talk about it before, was a brilliant sort of, it likes the old-fashioned chess problems. What is the optimal move to do given this current layout? And I got the first one right, which a lot of people did. And I got the second one wrong, which a lot of people did. But it's really, really interesting to see it all. And Justin Russell of Sloppy Labrick USA won the competition. He was one of a handful of people who submitted the right answer and was randomly selected. And Justin will be getting a Polish deck sealed, I believe, from the Can't Touch This team as a prize, and well done to him. And we are looking forward to their next challenge coming live. And Brett's put there into the chat where it is. So Brett's done us a Meet the Teams. He's done that. He's just done so much this week, especially while playing. And I've done, quite frankly, sod all. I haven't even fixed any of the coded bugs I wanted to fix in the back end scene. So Brett does much more the video editing. He put together all the commentating matches. So we just finished our 3-match commentating. We need to fix the resolution issue because I struggle to commentate without being able to see the cards. But I'm getting better. I've just listened to what Brett says and adding to the valid. But we'll go for it. There's also an article about KOTE6 they're doing for a real. And this time next week, we will be revealing the format for KOTE6, the rough dates we expect to start, and how that's all going to go. And it'll be a 4-week period again for sign-up, or maybe 5 weeks. We just need to finalise the dates. We have the sponsors lined up for KOTE6. But most importantly, thank you to our sponsors, Crazy Killing Machine, for sponsoring KOTE6. It's great to have you guys aboard. I know we've been working closely with you for a while now, and let's keep that up. We've got our first 5 subscribers on Twitch, which means we are now generating a little bit of money. All the money we generate through Twitch and Patreon will go directly back to the creatives that help us be. So this is going to Josie, our artist. If anyone needs any graphic design or illustrations, her and her boyfriend Basic Hector have a criminally cheap rate. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And also we have Karen from the Final Swindle teams. I think she's in Omega, who is going to. And thank you, Crystal, for subscribing. I think we are now up to 6 subs. Okay, what is mine? But we're growing. And so once we can cash the money out, that is where the money will be going. We'll also be sending money to the video editors, and if we, in the likely event we get enough, we'll be buying better equipment to be able to do better streams. But thank you so much so far. Yes, she is the Final Swindle. Oh, she's brilliant, and she's doing work for other people as well. think we're paying her in Keyforge decks at the moment. So, hey, if she can eat Keyforge decks, we're all happy. So, we've had a busy week. This is the last week of the group stages. And this means that from next week, we will have the playoffs and then we'll have the top cut. So, we are expecting... you'll get a post, of course. So we're expecting here to see all the big guns come out for this final mix. So if you are one of the top teams at the end of this week in your group, if you are the top team, you automatically qualify for the finals, the top finals. And you get a week off. That's your prize for making it to finals. And then second place and third place for a different group will play off for a playoff into that same finals. The loser of that playoff and the winner of a fourth and fifth player playoff, similarly done, will make it to a separate set of final bracket. And so we will be running multiple brackets. We'll have the top bracket, and we'll keep going down until we have run out of teams. So if teams want to drop, that's fine. But if teams want to play another couple of rounds in their own bracket to see where they come and we can get sort of rankings for the entire tournament, that's what we want to see, and that's what we want to see coming through. In the unlikely event, I hope, that at the end of this week, we have two teams in second and third place, or first and second place, or whatever, with identical scores, we may have to sneak in another tiebreaker playoffs. I'm really hoping we won't. I don't think we will, but of course it's going to be possible. But we'll see where we are this week. I'm also going to take down, probably tomorrow, the current standings page. So people won't know if they made it until this stream next week. Let's see if we can drum up some more support for the stream. So it looks good. So KOTE6, as I mentioned briefly, this is going to start coming up after the finals. We're going to take a week off after the final. My wife has made it very clear to me I'm taking a week off. And then we're going to go through group stages again. And then we'll decide how many top cuts to do, or how many cuts to do, depending on how the feedback is this time. We are paying her in decks. Good for you. So the key thing here is to work out, and yes, I have got purple nail varnish on, don't ask children. The key thing to work out here is, what are the rules? And so I'm going to announce next Monday what the format is, and we're going to open registrations for KOTE7 realistically next Tuesday, maybe Monday if I get my arse in gear, and then you'll have until the day the event starts to sign up again. So remember this, please think of the other mods when you decide to sign up at the last minute. And I stress Brett and John and Tom and Brian and Carl and Simon and Josie and Rick. And I know we've only had 3 sign-ups the week before the tournament starts. Or in the case of this tournament in KOTE6, no one signed up and we start in a week. Please think of them dealing with me stressing out over this, and sign up quickly. We'll let you change your decks if need be. But the format will come out next Monday. I think we may have put some stuff on Patreon for any of our Patreon subscribers on what it's going to be. But as I said, we do have Patreon. We're more than happy for you to sign up for us, and we're really keen to see what we have going. But anything we make available on Patreon, you may get stuff early, but it will not impact the enjoyment of the game, and it will not change anything like that. We're all about inclusion here, but if you want to give us money, we're very grateful, and we can hopefully give you a better experience. Given the format, sign up sooner rather than later. Oh, awesome. If you do want to sign up to our Patreon, you can find the format tomorrow. Or you can wait till Monday. I'm just going to leave it there. The other thing to mention is, from when the top cuts comes in, I'm going to post probably on Wednesday this week a validation list of people to validate their decks, especially mass mutation. I'm more than happy for the teams just to validate as they see fit. But if they've not validated by, say, the second or third week of the top cut, then we'll start bringing down the hammer and having a hard conversation. The point of validation is to prove that you are in possession of your deck. It doesn't have to be your deck, but you must have physical access to it. So, for example, if I was playing with Brett on my team, Brett could not use one of my decks, and I could not use one of his decks, because we do not have physical access to each other. Now, in terms of COVID, Is it someone you see face to face and play with before COVID? Yes, then you can do it. If it is not, then no. Would you drive 200 miles to physically get their deck? Then yes, I suppose if you do that, that is a valid deck. But I also question why you drive 200 miles just to get a deck. But hey, some people do that. So I'm now going to go on to the standings, and unfortunately this isn't going to be quite as tidy as last week because OBS and me are not friends, and I am going to share the screen, just do a screen share from the website once I find the right tab. So there we go. So I'm going to quickly go through the tables. So I've gone through each table. I will then go through the pairings up for this week. All the pairings are valid. Simon will flip the switch probably tomorrow morning like he did last time, just because it's a bit late for him now, but all the pairings are ready and they have been validated. Touch wood. So what could go wrong? So first, let's begin with Dis. 1 second. And I'm just going to move that window there. So, current standings. I'm hoping everyone's able to read this. Why does, whenever I try and stream this, something goes wrong with the JavaScript? That worked fine 30 seconds ago. There we go. Right. So in the Dis group, we have the current winners, which are Manchester Maverick B on 3 wings and Can't Touch Dis, the Urchins, on 3 wings. So they'll be playing off in the final this week, in the final group stage this week. Both on 3 match wins, 8 games to 6 games and 26 keys. So I think even if Manchester Mavericks lose this, I think they're going to, well, they could be knocked out by Hamburg Galantians, but they're, providing they get 1 or 2 keys, they will definitely go to the playoffs, if not the final. Then we will have the Hamburg Galantians 1 versus Brain Games LV. These two are playing off for a spot in the playoffs to see if they make the top cut. And then we have a few other teams on Team Row on 1 match, 5 games, equaling with Resticori, London Urchins, and finally Portuguese Generosity, Smodder Electricity, Team Exalted A, and SCS Sharks. Team Exalted A and SCS Sharks I know are playing this week. I'm trying to remember who we gave the bye to, but we'll go through that in a second. Oh, wait. Simon has already twitched the button just to make my life easier. So this week's current rounds, and you can see this live. Thanks, Simon. Brain Games LVs will play Hamburg Atlanteans 1, as I said. Can't Touch This, the Urchins versus Manchester Mavericks B. Hamburg Atlanteans 1 versus Brain Games LV. London Urchins Dark Urchins are playing London Urchins Dark Urchins. I will fix that shortly. Why the hell is that happening? London Urchins Dark Urchins are playing Portuguese Generosity. Manchester Mavericks B versus Can't Touch This, the Urchins. Portuguese Generosity are playing London Urchins Dark Urchins. What's he done? What have I done? I will tidy this up after this stream. That's a bizarre occurrence of why are we getting duplicate teams playing each other. But we will come on to that. I will come on to fixing that, and this will be up live in a few minutes, just after this stream. I'm going to go back to having a proofreader. Right, we're going to go into Logos now. Now, Logos has finished. They only got 8 teams in their group, so this is their final standings. And they can have a free week off this week, and Hong Kong Mavericks can have 2 weeks off, fortunately for them. So the winner of the Logos group is the team HK Mavericks. Now, this team have won 2 previous events. They're probably the best team in Hong Kong, or the way we look at this, Asia Pacific. Second place was Team Fat Boys, Hong Kong, and Hypno Keyfrogs. These 2 will go into the playoffs, not playing each other, but playing teams from different groups. Our Hypno Keyfrogs has our own Brett, or All For One Gaming, is the ringer over there to make up the numbers for the Singapore team. And thank you to everyone else, and we'll announce your playoffs if you want to play in your playoffs for your brackets. We'll put all that up next week. So, that was the easy one. So I'm just bugged by this. So I'm just fixing the disk group up quickly live in the background. The disk group will have the pairings correct in about a minute. I'm just waiting for the things to process. So going into the Mars group, again, this is the last week. They currently have Starship Looters and the French Keys who are playing off for the first place. Then we have Keyforge, Granada, Baguette Switch, and Les Pros, who are all in positions to qualify, though it's going to be tough, I think, for them to... Obviously, one of them will get third, but I don't think it'll be tough for them to get second place. And going down to the pairings this week is we have Baguette Switch Baguette Switch versus the Forest Defenders, Barcelona Marmooks versus Monkeys, Keyforge Granada versus Les Pros. That's a massive spoiler. Lamar Dombres gets the bye. La Pros versus Keyforge Granada. Manchester Mavericks D versus Seeker Needles. Monkeys versus Barcelona Marmooks Beerforge. Seeker Needles versus Manchester Mavericks D. Starship Looters versus the French Keys. The Forest Defenders versus Baguette and Switch. The French Keys versus Starship Looters. So, let's just go on to the next group. All hail the Kit No Free Fox, yeah. So apparently it's not the top 2 teams this week. The top team goes in. The second and third teams will have a playoff for the top finals. But we'll be drawing brackets and explaining it all in great detail next week. There was some confusion probably caused by me about that. So moving on to the current standings here. This is the Sanctum House. We have Reapout and New York City. Now, Reapout have gone hell for leather in this event. They've thrown in their best decks, the horrible decks, the decks I have nightmares over. And they're currently only losing 1 game. And realistically, they're only losing 1 key. So I'm not saying they won't definitely. New York City are there. They can definitely beat them. But Reapout are going to probably go into the finals. They can't be taken below 3rd place. We then have Sanctomius, OG Midwest Mavericks, and Team Saz, who are all in a great place to catch 2nd or 3rd. Team Saz a little bit harder, but it's not by no means impossible. Or is it? And then the pairings this time will be ABR Smoky versus the Final Swindle Alpha, Baywitch versus the Unicorn Squad, New York City versus Reapout, obviously, OG Midwest Mavericks versus Team Saz, Reapout versus New York City, Sanctonius versus Team Wormhole, Bot Buchan, Team Saz LP versus OG Midwest Mavericks, Team Wormhole, Bot Buchan versus Sanctonius, the Final Swindle Alpha, 8 versus ABR Smoky Bears, and the Unicorn Squad versus Baywitch. Baywitch is still one of my favourite names. So that is the Sanctum House. Now we move on to Saurian. So, in Saurian, we have Autocannons and Hamburg Lanterns 2, both on 3 matches, both on 8 games, and 26 and 24 keys. And just to reiterate this, and Brett asked me to repeat this, is the keys matter here. Because if you are on the same number of matches and the same number of games as a competitor, the next tiebreaker is on keys. So don't just throw away that last game because you've won 2. You want to get as many keys as you can to help pop you the most, and a number of people will be getting through on a number of keys. So, what we have here is Autocannons versus Hamburg Atlanteans 2, obviously. Bootcamp X versus Trailer Park Boys. Can't Touch This versus Soul Snatchers. Self Armo have decided to drop. But so luckily they also have the bye. Furry Muscles versus Manchester Mavericks C. Hamburg Atlanteans 2 versus Autocannons. Manchester Mavericks C versus Furry Muscles. No Can of Fancy in Austria 1 versus Not Finished with Your Mum. Not Finished with Your Mum versus No Can of Fancy in Austria. Very negative teams here. Soul Snatchers versus Can't Touch This, The Wolves, and Trailer Park Boys versus Bootcamp X. So, let's move on to the next group. So, this is the Shadows group. What we see here is the Steelers are the only team on 3 match wins. So they are definitely going to get first. So they'll definitely get first. They'll probably make top 3. We have 4 teams on second. And then we have and then we have the usual ones at the bottom. So we have Triple B are going to be get the pair down against Team Exalted Bowling Edition. Not paired. What am I saying? That's not a pair down. Team Triple B are going against Team Exalted Bowling Edition. Now, come on, guys. You can win this. You can qualify. Team Exalted. I mean, you're currently third, and you're not far behind second. So you're in a good place. Bootcamp X Team 2 versus Manchester Mavericks A. Yes, I am biased to my own team, Team Exalted. Bootcamp X Team 2 versus... versus Manchester Mavericks A. Can't Touch This versus The Purgers versus SCS Steelers. London Urchins Imperial Traitors versus Team Archimedes. Manchester Mavericks A versus Bootcamp X Team 2. Nottingham Anomalies versus Screech Bomb. Did I say that right, guys? Screech Bomb versus Nottingham Anomalies. SCS Steelers versus Can't Touch This. Team Archimedes versus London Urchins Imperial Trader. And Team Assaulted Bowling Edition versus Triple B. That's good luck, guys, especially to my brethren at Team Exalted. I'm not playing in this event, so I feel I can be biased. It's not like I'm running it or anything. So now we move on to the Star Alliance. Bob-bomb. Bob-bomb? Is that right? I'm going to have to start getting a briefing on how to say teams' names again, guys. Bob-bomb. Awesome. Right. So last week of the group stages, I got the name right. To be fair, I'm still doing better than Timoteus Tomatillos. But yeah. Who are in this group? So this is the, I don't know what group I want to. Star Alliance group. So Ganymede Archivists are on top here with 3 wins. Yes, they have 2 Canadians and a gentleman from Hong Kong. Then we come Midwest Mavericks, No Count in Austria, 2 Coast to Coast and United Archons. They're all in a good position to qualify. I mean, there's no clear outrunner here. So it's going to need to see how we end up. So the pairings of this round is... Yes, all for one. The teamwork to make me say the name of an English team shows my language skills are really not good. Allied Archons UA versus Coast to Coast. Coast to Coast versus Allied Archons UA. CR7 Ghost Horse versus Grand Earth Alliance. Ganymede Archivist versus Midwest Mavericks. Grand Earth Alliance versus CR7 Ghost Horse. La Forza Latina from Argentina versus No Canafans in Austria 2. Midwest Mavericks versus Ganymede Archivists. No Canafans in Austria 2 versus La Forza Latina. And Ocadovicado versus Tomatillos. I think I got them both right. And then Tomatillos versus Ocadovicado. One day I'm going to know how to spell out the Ocadovicado, and then they'll change their team name. Yes, all for one. You record that game just so I have to keep saying the name. Alright, now we're going to move on to the final grouping, the Untamed group. So, the standings at this point. Control the Leak versus the Tubular Time Hops will be taking the fight for first place. With Gaming Gear Birmingham, Sloppy Lab at USA and Rocket Boots all in a position to qualify. Calm and Annunciation. I don't do either of those things. So the pairings of this one is Control the Leak versus the Tubular Time Hogs. Gaming Gear Birmingham versus Rocket Boots S. Jabbergrammer gets the bye. Niffle Disobedience versus the Final Swinder Omega. Rocket Boots S versus Gaming Gear Birmingham. Sloppy Labwork USA versus Team Weekend. Team Weekend versus Sloppy Labwork USA. Team Wormhole Technician versus the Wookalas. The Final Swindle Omega versus the Niffle Disobedience. The Tubular Time Hogs versus Control the Leak. The Wookalas versus Team Wormhole Team Technician. Stress out and blame the French. Yeah, I won't do that publicly. I can't. I spent a lot of time working with some fine Frenchmen. One of my mentors is a fine Frenchman. I'm not going to put any more comments on that one. So that's the current standings and the draw. I fixed the draw for the dish, so let's just see if the disc one is right, and then we can tie this to the end. I've still got 20 of you listening to me failing to balance teams. Yep, so this has now been updated. So London Urchins will play Portuguese Generosity. Portuguese Generosity will play London Urchins. Resticori will be playing Smudgeltricity, and Smudgeltricity will be playing Resticori. So guys, last week of the Swiss, it is going to be AOA v AOA and Mass Mutation versus Worlds Collide. And I think that's a great way of ending this, because it's going to be an interesting week. So many good players, so many people close to the top. Yes, we did start with that. We haven't, and there's only 3 combinations we can do. So we're now in the 4th week, so we have cycled the combination. Nope, we'll never do whole set versus whole set. AOA v AOA, Mass Mutation versus World Collide. Nope. We discussed this, Brett. Nope. It's AOA v AOA and Worlds Collide versus Mass Mutation. Sad panda. I love the fact you're on 2 separate accounts and having a conversation with yourself. Right, so thanks everyone for listening to Brett talk to himself and me ramble on today. Any questions, let me know. And let's get moving. Why is everyone's... Yeah, that's right, John. Yes, it is AOA versus AOA and Mass Mutation versus Worlds Collide and Worlds Collide versus Mass Mutation. Only intelligent conversation I get. That's fair. Right, so thank you everyone for... Thank you everyone who subbed to us. We'll put the money to good use, supporting the people who help and support us. And look forward to seeing you all next week with going through the playoffs, the top positioning of each team at this point, and showing you how this is all going to work. So, have a great week, everyone. Speak to you next Monday.